Hello there. I just got cut off. Hey, positive vibes only. I just got cut off of my live stream, and so I quick pulled this one up just to finish in case people were lost. There's 4 others over there on my other one. I love that Grand Rising. So welcome. I'm hoping that my other people can find me over here. I'm sorry for that problem on my other live stream. I don't know why it does that to me, but I was in the middle of saying something. I'm sure it was real important. But I'm doing manifesting questions today. So if you have any manifesting questions that you want to ask, I would be absolutely delighted to answer them for you. So let me see here. I'm going to try to do 2 things at the same time. So ask away if you would like to have a question answered on the law of attraction. Anybody here from my other stream? I'm sorry I lost my stream, so thank you for being here with me. And I'm not sure why that happened. Excellent. Hey, welcome, Gavin. It's nice to see you. What would you like to know about the law of attraction? Are you a beginner? And positive vibes, what exactly are you? Now, you're a positive vibes person. You'll want to listen to the other live stream also, because I talked a lot about negativity in there and how negativity can be a real tool for manifesting. And that's in the other live stream that will be ending and posting. And so I actually have 2 that are up right now. So, oh, you were on the other one too? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sorry that happened. I'm not sure why I got cut off, but let's see here. Okay, hi Sandra, welcome. Thank you for finding me over here. Okay, I was just thinking that right before you texted, I thought, what would I do for an absolute beginner who is very new? So I'm going to do a card for beginners here on this one. This is great. And we'll just do a little, this one's not going to be as long of a video as my previous one, but we'll definitely do something that would be a key for beginners. What would be the first thing that I would want somebody to know? Better, what would be the first thing your inner being would want you to know? So I think that's a better question. Hey, Jahan, sorry for that mix-up. We're only going to do a couple cards here on this stream because my tummy is rumbling. I haven't even eaten yet today. And so I want to answer the guidance of my belly. But anyway, what does the inner being want you to know? If you're curious, if your life has put you in a place, if you guys, I don't know if you saw the science experiment part of the reading this morning, but I'm going to do that again just to show you, because it's just so valid. I believe that there is a magnetism between people, a charisma, or just there's something about certain human beings that when you meet them, you just want to be with them. For you, it's some people get all excited and get crushes on these people, or they think they want to marry them, when that's not really what the importance is. The importance is, out of all the hundreds of human beings that live where you live, there are certain ones that get your attention and you want to spend time with them. When this happens, and if you're a person who is living to be your best self, you want to have the best version of yourself present. That's really, there's a book, by Mike Baer, I think it's called Your Best Self or My Best Self. That's really a good book, because if we are truly our best version of ourselves, we're treating people kindly with respect, we're taking care of our needs, we're doing something that is important and is fulfilling for us. And if you've got that vibe going for yourself, so you're not really blaming other people, and you're also not leaning on other people too much. There's a sense of independent adulthood that you're doing okay. To me, that describes a person who's in alignment or has well-being. That when you're doing that, as you're out gallivanting around your life, Gallivanting, great word. But as you're out wandering around the planet, and you're doing your thing and running your errands and what have you, that when you come into proximity or nearness with someone who is of a similar vibe that will benefit both of you, that natural magnetism is what does it for you. And if these two people are destined to come together, this could be between you and a client, it could be between you and a friend, it could be between you and a partner. But the reality is there is a natural magnetism. We've all had it, right? Where it's like a quote unquote love at first sight feeling. Or you meet someone, you're like, I want to know that person. That's the natural human, that's our birthright. That's part of being a successful human. So what's the problem? The problem is that sometimes things come that flip your life upside down, okay? Things that flip your life upside down might be the loss of a job. It could be the loss of a partner. It could be the need to move to a different town. It could be the death of a partner, okay? Thank you, Jahan. I will do that twin flame journey right after this. Thank you so much for chasing me down. At any rate, if you've had some upheaval in your life where your life got flipped upside down, then when you're out, the very same person that would be an ideal partner for you, watch what happens. Now they run away from you, right? It's the same two magnets, but because one's life got flipped upside down, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, the natural magnetism is gone. Okay, so that's where if you start reading books about the law of attraction, Abraham Hicks on YouTube is a great resource. Wayne Dyer is another one. And I like Louise Hay also. They're older people and their voices carry such authority, and there's nothing fancy. It's just the truth, just the facts, ma'am, right? And you start changing, removing the obstacles that came because of your life getting flipped upside down. Right now, there's flooding happening, there's bad weather, there's hurricanes, and there's fires. There's circumstances you cannot control. I'm gesturing out here. There's circumstances that you can't control. This flips your life upside down. It's not your fault that the bad things happened, but it is your responsibility to create life after the fact. So if you're like me, you did some therapy, you would talk to life coaches, you would get readings, I do tapping, yoga, exercise, spending time in nature, so many tools that will help me flip my life back to its proper position. And then I have to get out. I can't stay home all the time because there's nobody to attract in my home. But when I go out into the world now, that my life has been refreshed, when I'm walking around and come nearby someone that is good for me, I'm not going to repel them. Okay? So that's the whole point of the law of attraction in a heartbeat, is that because life has dealt a set of circumstances, and how you have interpreted the circumstances is the vibe that you're presenting. And so people that might tell me I'm unlucky, I'm just so unlucky. Everything I do fails. Every relationship I had was disappointing. They are actually manifesting exactly what they're talking about. So I like to say, what you talk about, you walk about. What you talk about, you walk about. So let's say you want more money, and all you do is walk around saying, I'm just so broke, I can't believe it. I can't even buy myself a can of beans. I haven't had money since 1926. No, I'm sorry. Nothing I do works out. I have to get a new job. I hate my boss. Okay, all that does is bring you more of the same. But if you can flip it and say things like, even though I'm not happy at this job, I want to do the best I can to prepare myself for the next one. Every day at this job is one day closer to my next job, right? There's ways you can trick yourself with language. I love to do that. And that's part of what I'll do here on these calls that you can hear about. But the best way to see about what you're attracting into your life is just look around. Are you satisfied with what you have? Now, Jahan asked me a question about twin flame. There's something in her that makes her believe that she would have a happier life experience if she had a twin flame. And by twin flame, I'll talk about that in just a second. But in her mind, I'm guessing that she would feel more happiness, more satisfaction in her life if she had a twin flame experience. So because of that, she may be focused in such a way that okay, here's how it is. If you try to start, okay, so remember we have our natural magnetism, all right? Let's say you had a bad breakup or someone passed away, or your parents had a bad marriage and you just have like a bad taste in your mouth. You feel insecure about how relationships could really work. You could be flipping your life upside down here so that the very people that would be good partners for you again, they're not available. They're running from you. So what you want to do first is just make sure that you're not feeling any heartbreak or anger or hurt feelings towards your exes. You want to take care of that first for sure. Because if you're trying to manifest a new partner out of the pain of your past relationships, it's just doomed for failure, because you'll attract someone who's going to cause you some distress in your love life. Okay, I can pretty much promise you that. So twin flame. Here's the deal about twin flames. There's a couple different ways to look at relationships. One is soulmate. Soulmate to me is people will marry their soulmate, but it's not necessary. A soulmate could be a friend. A soulmate could even be a family member. In my world, a soulmate is another human who crosses your path in a profound way. You have an attachment, a connection to them. They get your attention. A lot of times it's so shocking to have it happen that we can make some mistakes in those relationships and maybe trust too deeply at first and that sort of thing. But the feeling of connection, it's otherworldly. Like, wow, I feel like deja vu. I've known this person before. But soulmates are not necessarily forever, because you can come together with a person for a very intense period of time in your life, like a chapter, and then they go on their way, okay? Then we have our twin flame. Now, the twin flame is something, Jahan, I just want to make sure you know what it is before you want to have it. Because the legend is of the twin flame that there was one energy that got split into half, and then there's two humans that each hold a piece of that energy. This is what I understand. But twin flame is called flame for a reason. It's painful. Okay, a twin flame relationship, I believe in a way, there's a family member of mine. I do believe it's a twin flame relationship because it's been very painful for our whole lives. A lot of misunderstanding, there's love because it's my blood. But there's pain because as each of us is true to our own hearts, we offend one another. Okay, so twin flames you grow in those relationships. They can be stressful, but people want them because they have the illusion that it's like a problem-free relationship or an easy relationship. But any relationship that lasts past a year already is going to have its frustrations. There's habits of humanity that you'll get annoyed at. But if it's a true connection, it's something I have learned to call a counterpart, the divine counterpart. Now, doesn't that feel good to even hear it? And if you're a person that the divine doesn't work for you, you could call it the universal counterpart or the spiritual counterpart, whatever you want. But a counterpart is that's what I see as this, where there's two beings that are healthy and vibrating really well. And as a counterpart, they come together in this formation, but they both can still move and they can have their full being. But this counterpart energy is so different from soulmate and twin flame. Okay, that's just the way I look at it. I've been writing in the love and romance arena for over 20 years. I have a blog called breakupcandy.com. It's been 7 years, quite a spiritual connection. Right. So then the idea is, as you're in a connection, our culture, I'm in the US, and I was raised Catholic, and of course in that religion divorce is not allowed, and I have 2 divorces. I'm a bad Catholic. But the reality is, at this point of my life, I don't believe every relationship is happily ever after. I believe that there's connections that are for a season, for a reason, and for forever. And some people have a happily forever after with one human, but it's not easy. They have so many life challenges that they function well together with. And that's a blessing to have that. A divine counterpart is exactly what you would be wanting. So the idea of the twin flame, for you, Jahan, it might mean that you already have that divine counterpart, and that the divine, wondering about the twin flame part of it, if you were in a private reading, I would want to be diving into that and looking at what it is that is causing that question to come for you. Because I feel like there's a question under the question. But right now, though, let's ask your inner being to give you, thank you for coming over from my other reading that conked out on me. I don't know why that happened. But I want to draw a card for you that is from your inner being around this relationship that you have, okay? The whole idea of twin flame and this connection, 7-year connection, that's a long time to know somebody. What is it your inner being wants you to know? Okay. Wow. All right, let me look at this. Okay. Oh, Karen, it was 29 years for me in my first marriage, and yeah, that's deep, huh? That's deep. If you have a question up for me around that, I'd be happy to draw you a card. And also, if you're new into the law of attraction, welcome. And I try to make these as accessible as I can. But I do believe that what we think about, we bring about. And that's the whole key of what I'm after here on these readings. So, but anyway, Jahan, let's take a look here. So we have choices here, right? I'll pull a card for you, Karen. My heart goes out to you. But let's do Jahan here. So this is an interesting card. Okay, so the 8 is that sign of infinity, right? So it's just such a beautiful number, eternity. But the energy underneath is not comfortable. It's not comfortable to look at. The words are troubling, helpless and hopeless, okay? What I notice right away is if we take less, if we take LESS, and we take it off of these words, we're looked with help and hope, okay? So I'm feeling like for you, it may be that the energy is less than you're wanting, okay? That there's something that's happening, Jahan, that is a little bit disappointing. You know what, Karen, this energy may be around you also. The same card, where there's just this something that you were hoping would be something is not. Because the figure itself does not look distressed. The figure is just standing, right? Standing in one spot, balanced and considering. And then the 2 choices, right? We have the 2 staircases. And yet what the figure is looking at is the horizon where the sun is. So I feel like your inner being is very stable, Jahan. Your inner being knows that you're at a place of a decision. All right. So I would say that your decision is, what are you going to do about less? Okay, so something's happening with the person that is less. So is there less time? Is there less attention? What has shifted that makes you feel like you're missing out on something? And then you have to address it. This a card is surrounded in blue, which is the beautiful color of the throat chakra. So it's important that you have a discussion with your person about what's going on in the relationship, okay? Because you just need information, you need knowledge, and you don't need to try to read their mind. Now, if you write, John, do me a favor and send me an email at TarotInfoPlease@gmail.com, because I have a really cool list of questions that you can ask your partner to create a conversation. And I would be happy to share that with you, okay? It's just an objective way. You could say, you know what? If, let's take a look at our relationship and how we can make it better. And I think it'll give you some insight. And let me draw a card for clarity here. Yeah, okay, so this really goes with this. Yeah, you can't read their mind. This is, sorry about that. The Five of Pentacles to me is like, I call it the poor me card. Like, oh, poor me, my life sucks, oh, and we all have it. This is an energy that happens, and it goes with that helpless and hopeless feeling, right? But your inner being wants you to know that's just an illusion. It's not true. Look here on this card. See the key? The key is right there. Her answer's right here, but she's so busy in her own, fear of missing out, FOMO, right? Everybody else has it easier than me. Other people who have twin flames, they live happily ever after. Why doesn't it ever happen for me? And so it could be that it's time to move on from this person. I don't know, but your inner being knows. But right now, I think your inner being is just saying to you that your perspective is too small and too closed, and that you can have a bigger view. Your inner being wants for you to feel satisfied in your relationship. So if we look at this as the inner being here, that's just standing, kind of waiting for you to decide. The inner being is focused on the bright future. And the inner being is like not even showing concern about which of these to pick. And the reason for that is there's no reason to be. Whatever choice you make will just open the door for future choices. Okay? And so it's important right now to move this sluggish energy that's happening. Music, dancing, spending time outside, for sure. I would use YouTube and look for, I would look for Louise Hay, Inner Child. She has a couple meditations on the inner child. I think that would be great for you. If you can find Louise Hay in your native language, I would highly recommend that, okay? And Karen, it's hard, I don't know if Karen is still here. Karen, was it their idea or your idea to split things apart? When you are at a place and a long-term relationship is ending, it is hard, man. That can be really hard. For me, it took me years. Yeah, Karen, was it your idea or their idea to notice the ending? Or mutual, could be mutual, where you're both feeling it. And 30, I have a friend, a new friend here in Tennessee who interested change. So it's kind of mutual probably, or just feeling, or are you feeling more dissatisfied? You don't have to tell me. I'll just draw the card. But I do have a friend here who 38 years, divorced probably about 7 years ago. And I divorced 9 years ago. Uh, and it is hard. I remember one time, this is many years ago now, I had somebody that wanted me to help them manifest a divorce. No kidding. She had been married about your same thing, about 35 years or so, and nothing wrong with him. He's perfectly fine. He just had zero motivation to go anywhere. He wanted to sit home all the time and watch. This is well way before COVID, and he just wanted to stay home. And she had retired. She wanted to travel. She wanted to go out and have dinner with her friends, etc. And she wanted to manifest a divorce. And it was the best client situation I ever really had. It was crazy because we did all summer long. We did tapping, we created intentions, and we helped her create a plan for how she was going to ask this man for a divorce. And I was in San Diego at the time, and she was seeing me for live tapping and live coaching. So she came over to my house, and we did our work. We had worked all summer, 3 months. We worked to set her up for success. And then the day came where she was going to tell him she wanted a divorce. Well, she walked into my office after a week after she told him, and she looked terrible. I mean, her face was pale, and I thought, oh, brother, what happened, you know? And she sat down, and she was so shocked. And she said, see, there you go. And she said, Catherine, you won't believe what happened. He was so calm when I told him. He actually helped me pack the car. And she was so shocked. I had goosebumps remembering that story. She was so shocked. I mean, Abraham says we shouldn't be surprised when our manifestations work out. Hi, Fernanda, because the manifestations, of course they work out. Everything always works out. It does, one way or the other. But their divorce went through very well, very easily. I mean, I could lay out the details, but the processes work so well that you can manifest a divorce. Isn't that something? So anyway, I want to tell you that story just as an encouragement to you. And then, you know what, too? I wrote an article a while ago on should I go or should I stay, Karen? So you know what? If you send me an email, for sure, I will love to send you the article, because in my last marriage where I was there and I didn't know if I should go or not, and I wrote a moving piece about it. I'll share it with you in a heartbeat. Okay, so do email me. It's TarotInfoPlease@gmail.com, and I'll send that to you. Yeah, because if it's in your highest good, if a relationship comes to a place where it truly is finished, it's like expired, not it's done, the energy is flat, and you have life left and you want to do something about it, you just have to be very sure about what you're doing. Because if you've been married that long, 36 years, you are like probably at least 40. No, I'm just teasing. But you're at a place of life where maybe traveling is so important to you that the pain and risk of stepping out and divorcing is worth it, because to be free and travel would mean everything, right? And I will tell you, I just got home. I lived in Mexico for almost 4 years. I lived in a very rural, not a resort. It was very rough. It was very hard living, but I loved it. I had a garden. I had birds to watch. It was just like being in a cocoon, and I loved it. And I had a lifetime of not traveling because opportunity wasn't there. And so I can tell you, if it's your divine destiny to be divorced, you will be supported. I can promise you that. Because if it's in your highest good and you need to finish it, your inner being is going to be guiding you in that direction. This is a time in life where a lot of people get private readings. I do private readings, but there's a ton of other readers also. So it's a matter of finding that rapport and then getting the help that you need, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, a counselor, a pastor. It's like whatever you need to do to support yourself. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, let's see what your inner being has to say. Okay. Hello. Wow. Wowzer, wowzer. That's a beautiful card. Okay, so Okay. The very first thing that I see is that this looks like a heart to me. And so I'm just seeing that your inner being, it's absolutely behind you in whatever it is you feel like you're doing. There is the need to release something here. And it's just, I'm going to use the word stark. It's stark. It's stark because it's black and white, right? It's dark and light. And this figure is taking off a garment. All right. So I feel like what this is saying is that whether taking off this garment, which is, let's say, it is the marriage in its current form, right? And that it's ready to be shed. I did in the last reading I did, it was talking about a cocoon and how a butterfly has to break out of the cocoon, and this totally is reminiscent of that. It's interesting to me that it is a male figure, right? So it in a way, you could look at this card and say, oh yeah, for sure, I'm supposed to release my husband, and that's the message. But the thing is, though, that your belief systems, your emotions, the experiences that you've had throughout your marriage is energetically still a part of you, even when you release. So I've been writing in this area for literally decades at this point. I have a blog that's called breakupcandy.com, and it's all about breakups because I specialize in it. I love to help people do what they need to do to find that core happiness. What is it? Sometimes the couple makes it because their great communication happens once you shed a skin and you actually transition into a different style relationship. There are some couples where the one person of the couple does travel and they have their life. They come back and they enjoy a connection with their partner that's not typical. There's something for everyone on this planet. For other people, they slip off the cocoon of that former marriage and they need time to dry their wings and to transition into the new life, whatever it is. But the truth is that something has been opened here. And this one time years ago, when I was going through a really significant heartbreak, I felt this kind of graphic, but I felt like my heart had a zipper on it and that the zipper got stuck as it was trying to go down, and it was stuck in the flesh of my heart. And whether you zip up or zip down, it would hurt to get open. And it really helped me. It helped me with the compassion I needed to try to untangle myself from this long relationship. I did end up in therapy myself. I think we went to 2 or 3 marriage counselors at the time because neither one of us wanted a divorce. And then I did go to a personal therapist during that time, Lynn, and I love Lynn. And she really helped me. One of the things she taught me, because I told her, I said, I can't give up the ship. I can't abandon this ship that I'm in. And she said, Catherine, she said, there is no more ship. You're clinging to a piece of driftwood in the middle of the ocean, and it's okay to let go. And it was tough to hear that because I felt like a failure for not being able to keep the marriage together. So I've been through every step of this, including a foolish mistake I made after my divorce and getting involved with the wrong person. Because this time that you need to shed whatever it is, I do think, Karen, it is definitely a sign of shedding the definition of what you're in right now, for sure. And for you, it might deeply guide you to opening your heart up to thinking about being single and doing what you need to do to get it done. It's not easy, and there's great risk in it, for sure. There's a great risk, but that's where leaning on your inner guidance is what is so helpful. So, and therapy's not against the rules of life. You know, it can be very helpful and situational, especially if you just can't motivate yourself to do the changes that you need to do. For me, the very first time with my 29-year marriage, I ended up in Al-Anon I was in Al-Anon for a whole year. And because they listened and I had a chance, I didn't like what I heard because almost everybody was divorced. And I was like, I didn't want that for myself. And like I say, I feel like my counselor helped me. Like I was holding on to my marriage like this, like grasping and holding it with all my might. And I felt like the therapist kind of peeled my fingers back, and let me realize that it was okay, that the allegiance was gone, that there wasn't anything left. And now I've been divorced 20 years, and we're not friends. We don't live in the same anywhere, or we're totally not connected. If we saw each other, it would be pleasant because there's not bad blood at all between us. But it really was, I guess I could use the word like a karmic relationship, because once it was done, it was done. So anyway, let me draw a clarity card for you, Karen. Do you get your cards drawn, or is this first time for you? It's a beautiful card. It really is, filled with hope and promise. Okay, another clarity card. Aw, I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards. So this is the girlfriend card, girlfriend. I love this in concert with this. I mean, look at how here, can you see this lavender that's coming up here on this card? Isn't this cool? So I feel like that there has been some lack in your friendships, and partly, a first time welcome. Partly because of low energy. A lot of times when you're functioning, you think of a car that has a flat tire, right? And it has to get to the gas station. And 3 tires work great, but the one is flat. That car is just not efficient, right? And that's kind of the energy here. It's like you don't have 3 inflated or 4 inflated tires. And so the time for friendships and self-care and the things that you want to do, you just haven't prioritized. But I love this because the time is now. A support, oh gosh, you guys, there's a bird that's called a rose-breasted grosbeak, and it's just beautiful. It's a black and white bird, and it has a beautiful red V on it, and it's right in front of my window. Oh my gosh. When I was living in Mexico, I didn't see any of this stuff. I feel like I'm a little kid in Disneyland. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay, but when I look at this card, none of my life would have happened if I would have stayed married that first time. And there's been times when I look back, and I've had so much challenge and upheaval being single, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And I think, well, maybe I shouldn't have divorced him. And I go in my mind and I think back to how I was living, and I think, no, I couldn't have stayed. I couldn't have. And now I enjoy, my life's not perfect, and I have sad days and worried days that I work at staying balanced in. But I had time to develop friendships, to turn my back on my old life. I moved from Milwaukee to California. I didn't know anybody in California. And I went out there and started life again. And then 17 years later, I went to Mexico and started life again, and went where I didn't know anybody in a foreign country, lived there for almost 4 years. I loved it. So for me, we didn't vacation as a kid, and my husband didn't want to travel. So I think I had so much pent up desire to have experiences that once I divorced, everything started to move. And so here, I'm aware of the stars, like the Big Dipper up there, just pouring out blessings. These people are walking away. So again, I don't think this necessarily means divorce. I don't, because I don't have that skill, and I'm not that kind of reader. But what I do know for sure is that there's something you can shed that is around the marriage. And even if you took off the garment of this relationship the way it is now, could it be regenerated and turned into something? It could. Anything's possible. But you do have to take care of you. And if you're not soul satisfied, then you need to look for that. So as you detach yourself from some of the disappointments and some of the stuff in the past, and you keep releasing. Keep your eye open for opportunities. You might want to take a class, join a group. A book club could be fun, a hiking group if it's summer where you are. But to do something, take a step to get yourself social and just do it for you. Okay, but I do feel like it does seem very much like a big change is underway, and the energy has already started to shift. The lavender is also a color of the sacred, the violet, the chakras above your head that connect to the heavenlies. So I would fairly say to you that your divine guidance is aware of spirituality in your life and is supporting you with this change. When I see like a little bit of the lavender here, it makes me wonder if you've been restricted, that you haven't been able to explore your spirituality as much as you want because of your situation. And so the fact that this beautiful lavender color is coming up in support of that, I think is awesome. Okay, so Karen, welcome. Be sure to email me, and I will send you, what did I say I would send you? Now I forgot. Oh, yeah, excuse me, an article, that's right, it was the article about, should I stay or should I go? Write a note to myself so I remember. Okay, so I'm going to draw this to a close. You are sure welcome, Karen. I look forward to hearing from you. I did pull a card here from the angels and the, oh, wait, I got my deck here. It's turned around. I wanted to close with this deck. Where did I put the picture? Oh, here it is. This deck. So I'm just shuffling here. I loved this, you guys. This was really good. Yes, the email is in the description box, I think. It's TarotInfoPlease. TarotInfoPlease, TarotInfoPlease@gmail. And thank you. Thank you for you guys for coming. It just fills my heart with joy to do these cards. Okay, so we're gonna pull an angel or a guide for us. I'm just close this meeting, and I want to be grateful. I'm gonna say this before I draw the card. Thank you to our inner beings who were in concert today, pulling for each other, that feeling of deep soul satisfaction where we, no matter what our circumstances, that we hold on to the vision of what it is we want to manifest and be willing to do the work to get ourselves prepared. Like Abraham says, getting ready to be ready to receive, to do the very best we can to stay in a receiving mode where we are ready to notice when the universe provides for us, okay? And, ooh, I love, oh wow, this is wonderful. What a great finish card. Look at her. Wow. This really resonates. I mean, I think it resonates with every single person I talked to today, right? Because grow within. Now, I know it says grow within your current situation, but grow within shows me that we have that wise one, our inner being, the part of us that's older than we are, the part of us that was existent before we were born, our soul home, right? That today's reading was all about that we can get connected to the piece of ourselves that knows all, that is the omniscient spirit. I love that. And it's true for all of us. Watch for spiritual signs. Watch for birds. The fact that rose-breasted grosbeak came right to my window, that is a bird that's symbolic of my mom. My mom passed away many years ago now, but one of her favorite birds was that bird. So when it shows up, I just feel that as some kind of connection I don't understand. My mom and I did not have a very healthy relationship until she was on her deathbed. And so it was very challenging. But in a way, I feel like the fact that that bird showed up to me is a sign. I'm not sure what it means, but I'm going to go Google the spiritual meaning of rose-breasted grosbeak and see if there's a message. So because I'm noticing the crow and the owl here in this card, I'm going to say that all of us pay attention to the animals we notice this week. And if you notice any animal that's new for you, be sure to Google it. I'm telling you, you guys, you will be amazed at how the universe is always laying clues. Our inner being is laying clues everywhere. We just don't know how to find them. Are you a person that notices repeating numbers? I have a friend that always looks at her watch when it's 12:34. She goes, Catherine, what do you make of that? Every time I look at my watch, I'm not saying she looks every hour and it says that, but often she'll just randomly look at her watch or at her phone and the time is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are authors that write books about that. But what I say is that any time that numbers show up unusually, it makes me think, could this be a divine sign? And it gets me to pause for a minute and to acknowledge that there is guidance that I don't know about, right? Also, I'm a grandmother. So for me, this just is affirming that even though I'm not perfect and I've made a lot of misjudgments, I've trusted the wrong people, I've made errors, but the path that I picked always taught me a school of lessons. Right, exactly, seeing 11:11 a lot. It just shows you that you're spiritually curious, okay? And if you're new to the law of attraction, it's just fun. I just love the whole magic of it. And if you do a YouTube search on law of attraction, you just get a ton of videos. But I prefer Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. They're old school. They're not so fancy. There's not a lot of sales and stuff attached to them. They're just good information. And of course, Abraham Hicks, a lot of very good books. They wrote a book called Ask and It Is Given, and it's filled with ideas on how to practice the law of attraction. So thank you guys so much for spending your morning with me. Thank you for being patient as I lost my first feed. I'm learning more about YouTube as I go, and so I will try to solve that problem. But go forth and prosper. You're all so important to me. I just love you. I wish so much you could be right here with me, but I hold you in my heart. So I will see you next week for sure, but I will be doing some lives in the next week, I'm sure, because whenever I feel like connecting, there it is, and there you are waiting. So have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Go forth, be blessed, and love one another. Bye now.